Real talk, guys. Starting is hard. I get it. It is possibly the hardest part of any project because once you actually start building some momentum, it's a lot easier to keep going than to build that momentum up again by starting. How do I know that? Because I posted 30 videos in 30 days and then I said, okay, well, I did that. Let's take a week off. And I killed my momentum, and then all of the things that make starting so hard came back once again, and I had to actually fight quite hard to start back up again. But start back up again I did, and I thought I'd remake this video because I have some really interesting insights into what makes starting so difficult. Specifically, the two and only two things that actually make starting so hard and why you haven't actually started. Hey guys, I'm Showman. I want to become the best possible version of myself. In fact, this YouTube channel is exactly that. It is my documentation of the journey to improve every area of my life. So if you want to improve right alongside me, then click that subscribe button and start your journey too. Starting is difficult, and you haven't started for two big reasons. And honestly, I can't think of any other reason that doesn't fit into these two categories. So once we can identify these two categories, we can then go ahead and give some solutions as to how we can solve these categories so you can actually start working on your project today. The first and probably the more obvious thing as to why you're not starting and why starting is so hard is because you don't want to do the thing. Now, this might be super obvious for something like studying for a test or starting a project, but it might not be super obvious when it comes to something like starting up a YouTube channel or doing a hobby that might take a little bit more effort than you thought. You think you want to do whatever it is that you want to do. Let's just say in this case, you want to start a YouTube channel. And you think you want to do that, and you think that is what you truly deep down, that is what you want, but have you considered that it might not actually be the thing that you want? And that is okay. That is more than okay. In fact, what I want you to do is I really want you to think about what you actually want, because that is key to actually getting started. What I suggest doing is what I did in my last video, where I actually did a 3-day dopamine detox, and I asked myself some very crucial questions. So I linked the video down below, and then there's an iCard that should be popping up right about now. I suggest you watch that to really figure out if this is the reason why you're not starting. Now, if this is the reason, and you know this is why you're not starting, because let's just say it's a school project, or it's something that you really know that you don't want to be doing, but you have to do it anyways, what is the best way to actually get started? Well, I think the best way is to just take a deep breath in, blow that deep breath out, accept the fact that you don't want to do it, because oftentimes we're not actually accepting of the fact that we don't want to do something. We're very resistant. We're like, I want to study, I want to study, I want to study, when in fact, deep down, you really, really don't want to. By accepting the fact that you don't want to do it, but that you kind of have to do it, it makes things a lot easier, because it stops having all these mental barriers of, oh, I should want to do it, I should want to do it. And instead, you're able to just kind of let it go and flow into the task, because you're not resisting yourself anymore. You're essentially giving yourself permission to not like it, but that you still have to do it. However, if this is not the reason, you've soul searched and you decided, no, this is what I deep down truly want to do, then let's move on to the second reason why you are not starting. And that is, drumroll please, fear. The reason why you're not starting is purely out of fear. Now again, you might be rolling your eyes because this is super obvious, but it had to be said. If you're on a video that is talking about why you can't start and why starting is so hard, then clearly you haven't started yet. So clearly you need to hear this message that you're very likely afraid. Now, most things fall into this category. You're afraid of people judging you. You're afraid of all of these kind of esoteric things, and I'm right there with you. After that 30 days where I did a video every day, after that, having taken a little bit of time off, I'm once again afraid to post things. I actually got back into the mindset of, well, what if people don't like it? What if people don't like it? Well, what if people don't like it? And that, I think, is the big solution here. And that is asking, what is the worst case scenario? What is the worst thing that can happen if you were to post that video, if you were to pick up that instrument, if you were to do whatever it is that you wanted to do? What if you did it, and then what if the worst possible scenario happened? Well, odds are the worst possible scenario is honestly not that bad. You're gonna get over a mean comment. You're gonna get over not a lot of people watching your video. You're gonna get over a lot of things because ultimately not a lot of things matter. And if not a lot of things matter, well, then you might as well do them. Now, this might seem a little bit on the obvious side, but I really wanted to make this video specifically for you. Because odds are there is something that you're putting off doing right now. Instead of doing that thing, you're watching this video wondering why you're not doing that thing. And it's very likely because you either just really don't want to do it or that you're afraid to do it. And honestly, that's okay. Alongside with not wanting to do it, you can do the exact same thing with fear as well. You just deep breath in, deep breath out. Yes, I am afraid. Acknowledge the fact that you don't want to be judged. Acknowledge the fact that you don't want it to fail. Acknowledge the fact that you don't want to look like a fool, and just do it anyways. Because trust me, this is the hardest step. That is the biggest thing that I can tell you right now. This is the hardest step. And the thing is it doesn't need to be perfect. It really doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be done, because getting it out there is better than having it be perfect. Why? Because really, no matter how hard you try, it's never going to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect. It's the first time you're doing it. So you might as well put it out incomplete, imperfect. This is a big thing that I see people doing, is wanting it to be perfect. It doesn't need to be. Just get it done. Just take that check mark, have it done, send it out, and be off to the next one. The first video that I made, it was terrible. The second video that I made, it was slightly better. And guess what? My videos just get better and better every time. Now, you might disagree with that, but to me, for what I want, they keep getting better. So doing it is much better than preparing and preparing and preparing, because ultimately, you never know what the hurdle is going to be. You never know what you actually need to do until you actually do it. So no matter how prepared you are prepared enough. So here's my challenge to you. No matter what it is, say you want to start an instrument or you want to put out a YouTube video, ask yourself the question, do I really want to do this? Really soul search on that, because this is important. And then after you've soul searched, after you've confirmed that this is exactly what you want to do, I want you to then ask, what am I afraid of? What is the worst case scenario if I were to put it out? And then I want you to put out an intentionally imperfect thing, because you're never going to get it perfect. But it's going to be much better to just get it out and move on and learn your lessons than it is for you to get it perfect the very first time. Okay, guys? After you do this, I want you to come back to this video and I want you to comment, I did it. And I will check out whatever you did, and I will give you a thumbs up, because you are doing great and you are on the way to greatness. If you made it this far, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button, because I will have more of these videos out every Tuesdays and Fridays. I think I said Tuesdays and Thursdays in my last video. Ignore that. It's Tuesdays and Fridays, just to give myself a little more room between videos, just so I can craft the best possible video in the time limit that I'm doing so that I don't get lazy and I actually get videos out there rather than procrastinate and get into this fear mindset of what is the worst thing that can happen. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.